Hi guys, it's Night Fear again, and now I am coming on with my Sequelathon TBR. And this readathon is being hosted from March 21st until March 31st. And this is being, as far as I know, I think there are might be other hosts, but the ones I know about are Kathy, Tritherdt, and YeraBookNerdZoe. I will link both of their announcement videos down in the description box so that you can go check out their channels. Now, this readathon is all about reading sequels. And I have a bad habit of having a lot of series going at once. I will share really quick how I keep track. This is a little book that I made, and one part of it is series, and how I do it is I have listed the series name, the author, when I start and when I finish. And as you can see, I have finished some, but I do have a lot that I've started that I haven't finished yet, and it just goes on and on and on and on. So I do have a lot. And then I also, like, for instance, Furyborn is not actually, a lot of them are, the first book is the actual title of the series. Some of them aren't. So, for example, Furyborn, the actual name of the trilogy is the Imperium Trilogy. So I write the first book so that I know that, oh yeah, that's the first book is Furyborn, so I have an idea of which, trilogy or series that is. So that's just how I do it. If you guys want to kind of like a flip through of this and some more explanation on how I did this, let me know and I can do a video on that. I don't mind at all. And I can give you some tips on if you want to make one of those for yourself. Okay, so there are 3 challenges. But I have also picked out some other series that I'd like to continue or start, and I will share those with you also. The first challenge is been putting off the longest, so I'm also doing this one for the Spring Into Reading-a-thon. This is The Maze Runner, and excuse if you hear Christopher, because he just got home from school. But this is The Maze Runner from James Dashner, and like I said in my Spring Into Readathon TBR video, a lot of people hate this book, but I have never read it. I have seen all the movies, so this is the only one I own so far, so I thought this would be the perfect time, and I've been putting this off, I don't know why, so I figured I would read it, for this. So we're going to see what I think. And this is a dystopian about this maze where the kids are put in the maze and they're trying to escape the maze. So that's that one. The next challenge is to continue a series I started last year, and I chose to continue with the Percy Jackson series. This is the Battle of the Labyrinth. This is book number 4. I had this on the TBR, I think, last month, but I didn't get to it, and this is by Rick Riordan, so I want to continue with this series. I do own all this series, so it's pretty easy for me to continue, but I get distracted. As book readers, we know that. We kind of sometimes get distracted, especially when we own the books and we're like, oh, well, I can always read that. So, but I do want to continue with this. And this is about Percy Jackson, who is half god, half human, and his, there's a prophecy and, fantasy kind of, and it's a middle grade book. So this is also, will cover middle grade March too, which, is always a good thing. Then the next one is Finish a Series, and this one I have had on several TBRs, and I've just not gotten to it because I really enjoyed the first book. The second book was and so I've been kind of putting off this one, but I really need to finish, and that's Frostlike Night by Sara Raasch, and this is about a world where there are kingdoms. There are 4 seasonal kingdoms, and then there's 4, can't remember what the other kingdoms are referred to. But anyway, each of the 4 don't like each other. There, in the first book, there was a war where spring had taken over winter, and some of the Winterians had been fighting to get their lands back. And so, I mean, there's just a whole bunch of stuff. This, like I said, the second one I didn't get into as much, so I'm hoping this one comes back around and I like this one better. So we'll see. Now, some of the other ones, oh yes, and as a bonus, you'll notice in the title of this, as a bonus, we were to give a fun name to our TBR. And I was thinking, playing with a bunch of things, about like consuming, and then, like that kind of thing. And then like other things, other names for sequels. And so I went to the thesaurus and I was, looking up things. And so the name of this TBR is Eating Epilogues, because when we kind of eat books, and then epilogues usually come after the first part and sequels come after the first one. So there we go. That's what I decided. So this TBR is is Eating Epilogues. All right. So I read, Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry, something like that. Last month for Blackathon, I was supposed to read this book, but didn't end up reading it. So after I read the challenge books, if I have some more time or really in the mood for this, I want to read Let the Circle Be Unbroken by Mildred D. Taylor. This continues the story of the Logan family that we got in that first book. And actually, it's a series before that, but I was told you could just read that one, and then this one's directly after that one. So, but this is about the Logan family, and it's a father, his mother, his wife, and then their children. And you get mostly Cassie's perspective in the first one. I don't know about this one because I haven't read it yet. And the first one is 9 years old, and this is 1930s. And actually it might be later than that in this book. I don't know. But the first one was in the 1930s, and all about the racism and, just horrible things. And she's real. I mean, she uses the words that they used back then, and she, this author is real, and she is basically telling, I don't know if it's exactly true, but I know she stated that, she used to hear her stories, and so I believe she's kind of loosely based these books on her family's story. At least that's what it seems like from what she was saying, in the author notes. So, and I do know that the author said that a lot of people, and these are written in the 70s, so a lot of people came for her, kind of saying that these were racist books, etc., etc., but they're not. They are telling the story of how it actually was back then. So if you're going to tell this true story of how it was, then unfortunately you have to use the words and tell the story of how it really was. So, but I'm excited to continue learning about the Logan family and Cassie and her brothers and her family. So, excited to continue that one. Then this one I got recently. It's Empress of a Thousand Stars by Rhoda Belleza. And this is the first book in a series, and it's about a girl who's supposed to be the Empress of all, and she's taken away to protect her, and she is now old enough to take over, and it's about her coming into age, about her her kingdom. So this sounds interesting, so I might start that one. This is another one that I recently got, Beasts Made of Night by Tochi Onobuchi. And this one is about a world where there are people who eat other people's sins, and the sins are then turn into animals, and the sin eaters actually kill the animals and then take some of the sin on. And so this is a story of I think he's a 17-year-old boy. Yeah. Who does this, and he is called to take a royal sin. And so he finds out some of the, plots and things that are going on, and you know how it goes on from there. So, and there's actually the second one has, I think, just recently come out. So I was excited to find this one. So it's nice. And then I recently also read Glittering Court, by Rochelle Mead. This is the second one, Midnight Jewel. And what's cool about these is the first one was told by one of the girls. And so this is the same story told by another one of the girls. And the third one is the other girl, because these three girls end up being roommates. And so it's interesting because you only get bits and pieces and you wonder what happens to her. And so now this is her story. So I'm excited to read this. It not the story itself, but just the way it made me feel. It really made me feel that same urging to read this as, oh, come on. It's by Kara Cass. The Selection series, how I wanted to read it and I wanted to continue, even though it might not necessarily be the greatest book. I really wanted to read it, and I get that same feeling with, or at least I did with the Glittering Court. So I'm hoping that I do with this one, and I own this one, and I have to get the third one from the library if I decide to continue with the series. So these are the books that I'm planning on reading, and who knows, I might get some more, because I love reading series. So anyway, guys, let me know if you were going to participate in Sequelathon, and if so, what you're reading, and if you think there are any series that I should start, let me know. I'm always up for another series. So please make sure you check out Kathy and Zoe's channel. Like I said, I'll link them down below. Please always be kind to one another, and I'll see you again in the next video. Bye.